Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I never planned on walking into that party. Bonnie had said it was just a small get-together with coworkers, nothing fancy. I told her I'd try to make it if I could get through traffic, and she'd laughed through the phone. You? At a party? You hate those things. She wasn't wrong. I did hate them. Crowded, loud, people pretending to have fun. But that night, I wasn't going for fun. The place sat on the 10th floor of a new hotel downtown. From a distance, I could already hear her voice, that bright social tone she used when she wanted to be admired. I stayed back near the bar, watching. She looked beautiful, of course. Black dress, hair pulled up the way she knew I liked. But her smile was aimed at someone else. His name was Samuel. I already knew that. I'd seen the texts, the receipts, the note. Samuel had written a note on a cocktail napkin weeks before. Let's not pretend your husband's still on the way. I'd found it in her purse while looking for car keys. Now I carried that same napkin in my jacket pocket, folded neatly. When the waiter passed, I slipped it into his hand. "Give this to the lady in the black dress," I said quietly. "Right now." He nodded, unaware of the bomb he was carrying. Across the terrace, the waiter stopped at their table, smiled, and set the note in front of her. Bonnie glanced at it, still laughing at something Samuel said. She opened it, expecting a flirt, a joke. Her laughter stopped mid-sound. The smile drained from her face. She froze, eyes darting up. I stood and walked toward her. The air shifted. People sensed it. She whispered, "Howard?" But I cut her off gently. "We'll talk outside." And I left her there. The note still open on the table. The truth written in Samuel's own hand. 2 weeks before that night, everything still looked normal from the outside. Bonnie and I were just another married couple trying to keep pace with bills, deadlines, and half-finished conversations. We didn't fight much anymore, but we didn't really talk either. She worked late often, or at least that's what she said. It started small. A Thursday night. She texted, "Traffic's awful. You'll never make it before dinner starts." I was about to turn onto the freeway when I checked my GPS. Clear roads the whole way. That was the first time I felt something twist in my gut. I didn't accuse her. I just said, "Okay," and stayed quiet. Later that week, I noticed a hotel charge on our joint credit card. The company name didn't match her firm. She called it a client event, but her company's calendar, public online, showed nothing that day. I filed that detail away too. Next Friday, I ran into Johnny, a coworker from my office. He mentioned casually that he'd seen Bonnie at the rooftop bar at the Marlin Hotel, laughing with someone. "Didn't know she was in your industry," he said. I kept my face neutral. "Yeah," I replied. "She's full of surprises." That night, I waited for her to mention it. She didn't. She came home late, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't hers. Still, I said nothing. There's no use chasing ghosts without proof. People lie differently when they think you're blind. So I watched. I checked the statements. I noticed the new phone password, the way she turned the screen away when she texted. I didn't get angry. I got careful. When she said she had another work event coming up, I told her I might stop by after my own meeting. Her face changed, barely, but enough. "You don't have to," she said quickly. "It's boring." That's when I knew. Once I knew something was wrong, I stopped guessing and started looking. It wasn't about jealousy. It was about truth. A few nights later, Johnny came by my office. He looked uneasy, like he'd said too much before. "Hey, Howard," he started. "About the other night at the Marlin Hotel. I think I saw that guy again. Tall, clean-cut, drives a silver Mercedes. Looked like the same one Bonnie was with." I thanked him, told him not to worry. That was enough to point me in the right direction. I checked her email later, the one we shared years ago before she made a work-only account. That's where I found his name, Samuel Hartman, a client from another firm she'd been coordinating with for months. Just one old confirmation message, but it gave me what I needed. That weekend, she said she had a team dinner. I didn't argue. Instead, I waited an hour and drove downtown. I parked across from the same rooftop bar Johnny mentioned. The night was clear, the kind that made the city look honest, even when it wasn't. Through the glass railings, I spotted her almost immediately. She was easy to find, center of attention, always laughing too loudly when she was nervous. Samuel sat beside her, leaning close, hand brushing hers. For a few minutes, I hoped I was wrong. Maybe it was all a misunderstanding. Then she leaned in, said something, and he kissed her. Not cautious, not guilty, just comfortable. I didn't stay to see what happened next. I walked back to the car, heart steady, mind blank. At a gas station on the way home, I printed the receipts from our shared account, saved screenshots of messages, and folded Samuel's note, the one I'd found in her purse. The handwriting was fast, confident, and I realized he was right, because I was already there. The night of the party came faster than I expected. Bonnie had spent all week planning it, a networking celebration, she called it. She'd sent invitations, picked the rooftop venue, and acted like it was another work event. What she didn't know was that I'd already made my own quiet plans. When I arrived, Bonnie drifted through the crowd, laughing, her black dress catching the glow. I didn't approach her. Instead, when a waiter passed, I slipped the folded napkin into his hand. "See the woman in the black dress?" I said. "Give this to her." Quietly. He nodded and moved across the floor. I watched from my corner. The waiter stopped at their table, set the note down with a polite smile, and walked off. Her hand froze mid-motion. Color drained from her face when she saw me. I straightened my jacket and walked toward the exit. She whispered, "Howard," but I didn't stop. The elevator doors closed behind me. I walked through the parking lot, the sound of my shoes echoing in the concrete silence, until I heard the sharp, uneven click of her heels following. "Howard!" she called, voice trembling. That was where the truth finally caught up to her. I didn't turn around until she was close enough for her voice to crack. "Please," she said, breathless. "It's not what it looked like." "Stop!" I didn't raise my voice. "Don't lie when you've already been caught." She swallowed hard. "I was lonely, Howard. You've been so distant lately. I didn't mean for it to happen." "Right," I said. "You just accidentally ended up at a rooftop party with the same man you've been texting for weeks." She flinched like I'd struck her. "You went through my phone?" "I went through the pieces of our life you kept leaving behind," I said. "Receipts. Messages. The note." Her eyes filled with panic. "You weren't supposed to see that." I was never supposed to see any of it, apparently. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. "You should stay with your sister, Melissa, tonight," I finally said. "We'll talk about next steps tomorrow." "Next steps?" she repeated softly. "Lawyers," I said. Her face collapsed in on itself. "Howard, please. I can fix this." "No," I said. "You can't. But you can leave." She stood there crying as I got in my car. When I pulled out, she was still standing under the streetlight, makeup running, holding that purse, like it could carry what she'd just lost. The next morning, the house felt like a museum. Everything looked the same, but it didn't belong to us anymore. I didn't call her, didn't text. By noon, Melissa sent a short message. "She's with me. She's not okay." I typed one word back. "Good." The following days passed in pieces. Every morning I'd make coffee, sit by the window, and stare at nothing for half an hour before work. It wasn't anger anymore, just a quiet kind of exhaustion. A week later, Bonnie reached out. "Can we talk?" she wrote. I agreed. Public place, neutral ground. We met at a cafe near the courthouse. She looked smaller, like the air had been drained out of her. "I'm sorry," she said the moment she sat down. "It wasn't supposed to go that far." "It went far enough," I said. Tears came, fast and ugly. "I ruined everything. I know that. Please don't make this harder than it already is." "I'm not making it anything," I replied. "You did that." She nodded, wiped her face, and whispered, "Are you going to leave me?" "I already did." That was the last time we spoke face to face until the mediation. The divorce moved quickly. No kids, no property disputes, just signatures and silence. When the judge read the final order, Bonnie didn't look up. I walked out first. Melissa told me later that when the truth came out, Samuel vanished. No calls, no apologies, just gone. Whatever they thought they had ended the same night the note hit the table. She lost him as fast as she lost me. A month after the decree, Melissa said Bonnie had quit her job. Word had spread at her firm. People talk. She started therapy, stayed mostly inside, and stopped wearing makeup. She told Melissa she'd never felt that kind of loneliness before. I didn't take satisfaction in it. Watching her life collapse didn't fix mine, but it was the first time in a long while that the truth felt settled. Almost a year passed before I heard from Bonnie again. By then, I'd sold the house, moved closer to the river, and learned to live with quiet. One afternoon, an envelope came in the mail. No return address, just my name written in her handwriting. Inside was a short letter. I'm not asking for another chance. I just want to meet once and say what I never got to say. Curiosity beat hesitation. We met at a cafe on Elm Street, a place we'd gone to back when life still felt easy. She was already sitting by the window when I walked in. No makeup this time. Her hair shorter, shoulders drawn in like she was afraid to take up space. "Hi," she said softly. "Bonnie." There was a long pause. Then she spoke. "I wanted to tell you that I've spent every day trying to understand why I did it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know that I see it now, how selfish I was." I stayed silent, letting her speak. "I kept blaming you," she said, voice cracking, "for being busy, for being tired. But the truth is, I wanted to feel wanted again, and I went looking in the worst place possible. I broke something that didn't deserve breaking." She slid a small notebook across the table. "These are my therapy notes. You don't have to read them, but everything I couldn't say is in there." I opened it briefly. Pages of handwritten lines, dated and raw. Words like shame, lonely, empty, repeated over and over. On one page, a single sentence stood out. "He kissed me," but I kept wishing it was Howard. I closed the notebook gently and pushed it back. "You don't owe me more pain," I said. She nodded, eyes wet. "Then I'll stop talking." For a moment, we just sat there, two people sharing the ruins of something that used to be home. When I stood to leave, she whispered, "Thank you for coming." I didn't say goodbye. Some stories don't need an ending. They just need to stop. Life after Bonnie was quiet in a way I hadn't known before. No late calls, no questions, no pretending. I started running again, cooked my own meals, and filled the silence with things that didn't talk back. The first few months felt hollow, but the stillness became a kind of peace. I never tried to erase her. Some nights, I'd catch myself remembering something simple, her humming while brushing her hair, or how she used to leave notes on the fridge that said, "Don't forget your lunch." Memory doesn't ask permission. It just shows up. Then, one afternoon, I saw her again. Grocery store on 5th. She was in the produce aisle, turning a peach in her hand like she didn't quite know what to do with it. She saw me before I could turn away. For a second, we both froze. "Howard," she said softly, almost unsure if she was allowed to use my name. "Bonnie." Her eyes were clearer this time. No panic, no pretending. Just someone living with what she'd done. "You look good," she said. "Thanks. You too." We stood there in that strange quiet, surrounded by strangers who didn't know they were standing between what used to be a marriage. "I'm happy you're okay," she said finally. "I am," I said. "You?" She nodded. "Getting there." Then she smiled. Small, tired, but real. I nodded once and turned away. No anger, no bitterness. Just two people on different sides of a story that had already been told. Walking out to the parking lot, I thought of that night on the rooftop. The waiter, the note, the silence that followed. That was the night everything broke, but also the night I found out how much truth can weigh when you finally stop running from it. People talk about revenge like it's closure. It isn't. The real power is walking away while the other person still hopes you'll look back. I never did. And that, more than anything I said or didn't say, was the answer Bonnie had been looking for. The story ended the night she kissed him. Everything after was just the truth catching up. Thank you for watching.